The Wallapai tribe who has that skywalk. Why can't we do something like that? Why can't we tap into that kind of funding? If you look at the numbers that are coming in for the Wallapai tribe for that particular structure, numbers are huge. We should be able to do that same thing. We should be able to do that across the Navajo Nation because I think we have 8 major attractions that are both Navajo tribal parks and national parks. So I think the Wallapai tribe, I think, really kind of hits me because I see what they're doing and we could be doing the same thing.
My name is Yvette Fielder, and I'm a program director at the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development, and welcome to the Native Edge podcast. So we have a couple of guests here from the Navajo Nation. I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourselves, but first.
Hi, I'm Kyia Jackson, San Carlos Apache, and I'm
Go ahead.
business development specialist.
That's right. Okay, and to my left here.
Yate Bene, Bobby Martin Yinishe, Nakai Sle, Tobaha Bashichin, Nakai Dishiche, Tutnessa Dishinele. To introduce myself and my traditional Navajo clans, and director of the Navajo Nation Tourism Department, and just wanted to say thank you and welcome.
Thanks for being here.
Yes. My name is Tony Skrelunas. I'm a Navajo boy from Black Mesa, Big Mountain. I'm a division director for the Navajo Nation Division of Economic Development. I'll start with clans I'm not related to. Kachini,
Yes.
Kiani, but I'm Todachini, born for Tachini, Lithuanian, and Lislanda Shiche. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much. So we had the opportunity to participate in the Navajo Nation Tourism conference recently, and that afforded us some time to get to know you better, go out on the tours. But the broad overview of the Economic Development Office, and what are some of your goals?
Well, I'll start since I'm division director. The Navajo Nation Division of Economic Development is like a development company for the Navajo Nation, but we do more than that. We're the organization that is set up everything from, like, we have our own incorporation code. So the federal government has given the Navajo Nation the authority to set up LLCs, corporations. We even have an L3C code. So we can set up limited profit companies, nonprofit companies, a lot of that. And then we have a Navajo preference law. So all contractors are they're obligated to follow a Navajo preference in contracting. So a lot of that falls under our division. We also manage all the leasing and land withdrawal process. So like if somebody wants to start a business, a lot of Indian country is trust land, and in our case, we have about 27,000 square miles. A lot of it is kind of like raw land. It hasn't been surveyed. There's no RKey. There's a lot of places don't have infrastructure. So our job is to really take that and help the community set aside the land, properly withdraw it, all the way to managing the process of acting like a real estate agent, where we negotiate a fee on behalf of the nation. We do appraisals. We do the whole process, and we then manage the lease. So we have a real estate department that does that. We have a small business department that helps the business owner through the process from business planning, getting the lease, to getting their financing, getting their business launched, and then helping them with retention throughout and growth throughout the whole business lifespan. We have a project development department that's really strong. They're like any project development, but they're structuring the financing. We have a lot of pots of dollars. One of it's called the sales tax fund, where it funds the infrastructure. It funds part of the development costs, like the capital stack. But their job then is also to recruit businesses. So project development works with like the BASHs, the larger businesses, the manufacturing companies, like Azini Homes, these kinds of businesses. So they also work on like some of the larger hotel projects along with our small business department. And then tourism, I'll let Bobby kind of go into what they're about. But in all, we also have a lending department. We have a CFO. We have multiple funds. I know you, we're at Native Edge, and the presenter talked about the NSBCI, Navajo Nation Small Business Credit Initiative. We're actually managing the chunk of the money. We're going to give out the larger loans, the $20 million loans. But we also have a small business lending program. We have different partners. We are also relaunching what's called a BIDF, a Business Industrial Development Fund. It was really crucial in the past. We are exploring all kinds of financing mechanisms. And so we also work with the tax commission. One of the biggest things that we're working on is on Navajo, because it's trust land. If a non-native business goes in and starts a business, they're paying two taxes, the state tax and the Navajo Nation tax. What we're working on is making sure there's one tax. We've gotten a lot of that with other states like Utah and New Mexico. We've worked out those agreements. But in Arizona, we're just now working those out. So we a lot of stuff. I could go on all day. There's
many
a lot of
divisions.
work.
How many employees are under the
55
umbrella?
employees, seven programs.
Seven
but
programs.
Bobby manages what we're about here is tourism is one of the biggest opportunities. We still have our culture, we still have our language, we still have a lot of our traditional ways. It just so happens, we're not like a Phoenix tribe, we're not near the metropolis.
Right.
But we say, we have something different, let's build on that. So I'll have Bobby kind of talk about that.
Yes.
So looking on a broader spectrum of one of our goals is nationally, there are billions of dollars coming in the tourism industry. Navajo Nation is only reaching a percentage of that. What we'd like to do is tap into a bigger piece of the pie and bring our Navajo Nation up to par with our states, because a lot of people are coming to Arizona, Utah, and New Mexico because of the Navajo Nation. So we should be pulling in a lot more of the funding that's out there, or the tourism dollars that are out there. And so that's one of our goals, is to increase those numbers. But basically, really going to have to deal with infrastructure, with project development, hotels, Airbnbs, smaller type businesses for our marketing people who are sitting on the side of the roads vending. Even though it doesn't seem like it's a big job, there's a lot of people doing it. So all that adds up, more dollars that'll be coming to the Navajo Nation. So it's going to take a lot of infrastructure work to get that done. But that's some of our broader goals that we're looking at right now.
Who has inspired you as you've been navigating some of these waters in maybe other Native communities? Not that you want to do a cookie cutter or anything like that, but who can you maybe look to that you say, we need to do something like that at Navajo Nation?
I was just talking about this with, I can't remember who it was 2 days ago, but it was regarding I believe the Wallapai tribe, who has that skywalk. The Navajo Nation has, I can remember, I think we said like 500 miles of shoreline in Lake Powell. Why can't we do something like that? Why can't we tap into that kind of funding? If you look at the numbers that are coming in for the Wallapai tribe for that particular structure, numbers are huge. We should be able to do that same thing. We should be able to do that across the Navajo Nation, because I think we have 8 major attractions that are both Navajo tribal parks and national parks. We should be able to get that kind of attention drawn to those areas as well. So I think the Wallapai tribe, I think, really kind of hits me, because I see what they're doing, and we could be doing the same thing.
Yes, and ecotourism. Mm-hmm. That's a huge area that you could get developed in, and a lot of your tour operators are already involved in a lot of that. Mm-hmm. I was so impressed when we attended your tourism conference, and we were able to partake in some of these tours. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those tour operators and some of those operations, especially if somebody's sitting in another country and they're listening in and they want to learn more about the Navajo Nation, and it's a destination.
Sure.
And I want to plan my vacation. They've heard about the Grand Canyon, but we're just a hop, skip, and a jump from there where we sit right now.
Yes, that's right. And I think one of our biggest areas in the Page, Arizona is Lachit chapter, where they have all the different Antelope Slot Canyons. They have Lake Powell, Antelope Point Resort. Marina. And it's a hidden gem. Not too many people know that we even have a marina there, and that it's Navajo owned. But we have boat tours, we have fishing tours, they have all different kind of events that you can go on. And it's just really getting the word out to people, to visitors who want to come and do that kind of thing. Botels that they have set up out there. It's amazing to see where this project is at now, as opposed to where it was 27 years ago when I used to be with tourism. When we did the groundbreaking on that project, and to come back and see that actually happening, it's amazing. But more so across the Navajo Nation, like I said, we need to start trying to draw tourists away from just the main attractions to other attractions that are also available. Like I said, right now there's 8 major attractions, but you could go out in somebody's backyard and there's just such a beautiful canyon that you can hike through, you can bike through, you can hike up into the higher mountain areas, and there's just so much to see and do. And our culture, like Tony had mentioned earlier, that's a big thing. I did a presentation here at the Native Edge earlier, and I took everybody through an exercise where I had them close their eyes and I had them revisit one of my memories of growing up as a kid on the Navajo Nation. And afterwards, people were coming up to us. I could really see what you were talking about. And it's just really, we have so much to offer on the Navajo Nation. We can't limit ourselves. We have to be open-minded and bring in more tourism opportunities.
Yes. And that was a great exercise that you did too, because you could really hear the stillness, the crickets, the sheep,
Yes.
walking along, the dogs playing in the background. You could hear your grandparents and the Hogan singing songs.
Oh, yes.
And looking up at the stars and a total clear sky, and that was amazing.
Yeah.
What do you want to add, Kyia?
I was going to say, yesterday we had to go do some site visits, and we had to drive through some of the territory and everything, and we were looking at the mountains, and in Arizona, like, people think it's just like the desert area, like the lower valley of Phoenix and stuff. But as soon as we got onto that highway, we saw all like the different colors of the mountains changing and everything like that. And so I know you said there's far more to see. Can you give us like your top 5 that
Top
that you could
5.
share?
Okay, I mentioned one earlier today. Driving from or going, motorcycles are my thing, but I ride my motorcycle from Lukachikai over the it's called Buffalo Pass into Red Valley, then into Shiprock. But it takes you from desert landscape to the mountains to red, beautiful rocks, then to the pinnacle. So 4 areas right there alone. That could be a real nice, simple tour, but it's probably one of the most beautiful places you'll ever see in the world. Halfway up that mountain, you stop, and there's a natural spring there where water's coming out, and you'll see a lot of people off to the side blessing themselves or packing water to take with them. That's an area by itself. I said it offers 4 different attractions, and that could be marketed in the right way. So still preserving the area and also preserving our culture and our heritage. Having the locals come talk about it, talk about that spring that's been there for years and years and years. People don't know about that. That's the kind of stuff that we need to get out there. I know Vista Badlands is talked about quite a bit, but it doesn't have the traffic that we should have there because that's a beautiful place. It's like a moon landscape, and I know we could be pushing that even harder. There's areas like I was talking about on my presentation this morning, the rim of the Grand Canyon, a trail that was built by my uncle way back in the late 60s, and it's a beautiful spot. You stand there at the edge, literally, and you just see the winding canyons that go out there, and you're thinking, why would I go to the Grand Canyon if I can just get it right here in my own backyard? And this is where we raised our sheep, we raised our cattle, we spent many nights out there, and so those are a few of the places that I think would really hit home with me.
Awesome. What about you, Tony?
Well, I think part of it is that I just want to reassure the communities out there that I've been at this for a long time. I work on some of the big projects, and I know that the communities are really concerned about the amount of visitors and which kind of companies actually come onto their lands and what their intentions are. A lot of the proposals, there's been crazy proposals like a tramway into the Grand Canyon. We got to be careful on how we work with these projects, and I just want to reassure our people out there that we really are thinking this through. Bottom line, I'm a conservationist. I care about our environment and our culture, And I really do want our language to survive, and I really want to protect our ways, you know. We're not talking about ceremonies. We're not talking about things that we're not supposed to tell, places that we're not supposed to take visitors. But at the same time, we have a real richness, you know, to our land and our culture. And we do have the tools. A lot of our tourism summit, I mean, what I try to really hit on is how do you manage visitor impact? How do you come up with a tourism plan and really figure out what things you can protect? What's the right amount of visitors? What kind of visitors? How do we market them? How do we set up companies that will actually then take advantage of that opportunity? What are the protocols for that? You know, so I think that's to make people comfortable. And Bobby talked about Wallapai, but I look at Supai. Supai has always been just the corporate interests that come to them, you know. And now the reaction by the community is we don't even want that hotel there, the hotel that's down there. They don't want, you know, a lot of the local people they see companies just really taking advantage of them, you know. And it's kind of like you can love a place to death. So how do we then not do that? So I just want to reassure that. My favorite spots, oh gosh, is obviously Grand Canyon, the places that Bobby talked about. I love Monument Valley. I love Lake Powell. I think it's a world-class gem. I think our tribe can really take a lot more advantage of it. It's really unfortunate that the Park Service is limiting us to 3720. We want to find ways to get lower. We really should have access to the lake. I think we could do a lot with that lake as a Navajo Nation, all the way up the river. I love San Juan River. That abuts Navajo, and it's really a relaxed multi-day trip. We do have, I think, 1 or 2 Navajo companies are running river trips now.
Correct.
But it's very relaxed. You're eating, they cook for you at night, you're sleeping, camping out. But after like 2-3 days, you're just in another level of relax. Oh, your shoulders come down. Yeah. So your smile comes up. You're all sunburnt and grungy, but it doesn't matter after a while. So, those are some of the places that come to mind. I love the whole Navajo Nation. It's really special, you know. The tribes out there are it's just all different, and the comfort you feel when you're traveling out there is really just it doesn't happen any other place for me. So
I'd like to add to that because we're talking about trying to create new ways of bringing different target markets in. So Tony touched on it with our culture. We're trying to push now for agri-tours. There's a lot of people who are interested in coming out, learning how the Navajo people used to farm, how we used to harvest, how we used to plant seeds, how we would seed save or saving foods. We took our economic development managers out to a location, Vanderwagen, where they're doing this kind of thing, and they have people that come and stay out there, and they learn this whole thing. They learn this process from start to finish, and they're out there camping out, or they're staying in these little lodges that are there. But when you look at trends that are coming across, a lot of the United States, or even just people in general who are visiting, want to learn that kind of stuff. They want to learn, how can we start bringing this back? And they're looking towards Native Americans who are doing this. We've been doing this for centuries. So why not turn that into an opportunity to make money off of it from tourists? So that's something else we wanted to push in, but really trying to push our culture and making sure that we educate our traveling public. That's another big thing that we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely like the points that you guys both bring up, because not just like ensuring your nation that you guys are respecting them, but also the visitors that are coming in need to respect your guys' wishes as well, and respect all the resources that you guys have.
Well, a lot of that is studying the tourism too. And I know both with the state director of tourism at that summit, the tourism summit, Bobby, myself, we really talked about what kind of visitors are out there. You know, there's a lot of research on that. There's a really different types of visitors, and how do we market to them, and who do we want here? You know,
Right.
There is a type that's really educated and really wants to learn, authentic. and really respects culture. But then, unfortunately, they also have higher income. So that's probably the visitor we want to go after. But again, we want to open it to all. But it's really how do we target market and find that right visitor. And they don't want to be part of a big group too. They want to be kind of an authentic, small, simple experience that's really rich for them. There's even a visitor that wants to work and learn. That's probably, we can have sheep herders helping a sheep herder.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
And we're really talking about the small business owner, the individual that wants to open their own tourism program, if you will, their own small business venture, and then the tribal tourism under the umbrella of the tribe itself. So those are two specific, very different in a lot of ways, because if you're a small business owner and you want to purchase 5 kayaks because you want to kayak down the river, but they have to get certain assurances and different things with the state or the county. Have you dealt with a lot of the individual small business owners that reside in or near the community?
We deal with a lot of the tour operators, the small businesses, especially within this past year. And we find that most of them have been established for some time. So we're trying to help them more with their marketing and trying to bring more people into what they do, draw
Sure.
attention to it. Actual startups, we haven't done many new ones. We're trying to let people know that we are available to help with resources and try to help get that paperwork. We do presentations at chapters. We bring them into the DED office complex. And we do meetings there where we're letting them know that you have to deal with taxes. You have to be on the business regulatory listing. You have to have all this stuff set up ahead of time. That way there's no complications further down the line. One of the new ventures that we're really trying to push for are the Airbnbs, really in a way where they're, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not so heavily regulated. After talking with land department and them letting us know, a simple person could open up their hogan and let somebody come in, stay there, and spend the night, spend their money, learn how to herd sheep, learn how to butcher, and then leave about 2-3 weeks later. I mean, some have stayed there that long, and that right now there's no business site leasing that's need to be done. It's on a home site, but it's okay for that to happen. As long as they're, again, taking care of their taxes and whatnot, it's a perfectly legal small business on the Navajo Nation. So we're really trying to push that out to a lot of people. I mean, we do have the hotels that we're looking at, which brings in big numbers, but the more smaller Airbnbs we can get out there, the numbers can increase for visitors.
If I could add to that is, I think what I see with Airbnbs, we want to give them like, what we're working towards is, we have a set of financing. We have a massive financing that we're about to launch with multiple parties, which is the NS BCI, Navajo Small Business Credit Initiative. They'll have all kinds of different tools. We're even looking at the venture cap direct investment. But we also want to do startup grants. That's something that Bobby and I are especially working on, especially around Airbnbs. Right now, there's really like about 10 Airbnbs on Navajo. We'd like to see 100 plus. But we also want to see innovation. People could start 2-story. People could be really creative, and that's what would be beautiful is if that innovation happened.
Yeah, for sure. Yesterday on our
On
drive,
a micro level. Yeah.
we
Oh,
saw-
go ahead.
Just commenting really quick. We saw, I think it was a 2-story hogan, and I thought
Oh,
that was
right.
really awesome. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that would be awesome if we could stay there. But yeah, that's really
Yeah.
cool. You guys are taking it into that direction.
And some people have cornfields, some people have sheep, some people have really nice scenic areas, some people are horse people. So they could, some people are motorcycle people, mountain bike people, runners. There is a whole movement of running and trails. There's races. There's even a real people that want to do trails across Navajo where people can
Something
bike,
for everyone.
bike and run. And we have a gal here, Celeste, who's here. She's starting a railroad company using the old Peabody Railroad.
Yes.
To use battery powered cars. They're they're basically just like little buses that are battery powered that people can enjoy the rail. It's a beautiful, fun experience. We have that Revolutionary
Railway,
They do
too,
like
yeah.
the biking with that. And again, they have a battery powered version of that too. You go a couple of miles, have a picnic, come back. I mean, a lot of that is innovation. That's what makes places a destination.
Yes.
And so that's where we're headed with the nation.
So for some of our listeners, we are sitting in northern Arizona, outside of Flagstaff, Arizona, at the Twin Arrows Resort and Casino. And on our trip yesterday to do some interviews, I'm the senior of the group. And as we were coming close to Winslow, I said, are we going to stop in downtown Winslow at the corner in Winslow, Arizona,
standing
the
in the
Eagles?
corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, what is that? And I'm like, the song, the song. And for those of you who have not been through Winslow, Arizona, there's really not anything in Winslow, Arizona that you would think is a destination. But we did a TikTok video. We posted it at the National Center's TikTok site, and I
Nice.
shared it. And I had a bunch of people reach out to me, either direct message me or make comments like, that's where I want to go. I haven't been there. I want to see it. People that I grew up with in the Valley. So I grew up in the Valley in Phoenix Metropolitan. And so that's so funny because you wouldn't even think that alone, out of this song, they created the corner. It's a fun little experience. And I'm sure weather permitted, we were just, passing through to get back over here.
Sure.
But I'm sure there's little ice cream shops. There was a little girl that was selling her jewelry. And so there was a lot of little bustling activity right there at the corner. And other people that had done the same thing, stopped after Route 66. And so what do you think about some of those things that have taken place on Navajo, like Forrest Gump? And he's describing the scenery as he's running, and they're showing the backdrop, and it's majestic and beautiful. I mean, so how do you feel as being enrolled members of the Navajo Nation when it's on that kind of a level, worldwide movie that received acclaimed recognition and awards and everything?
I love it. To me, that's free advertising.
Right.
So there's the Johnny Depp movie, Lone Ranger. They did a lot of the filming in Shiprock. Jumanji, they did some of the filming out there as well. I can't remember the other movie with The Rock that was in there. The Host was done out towards Shiprock. Forrest Gump. There's just unlimited numbers of movies that have come out. Of course, all the old John Waynes in Monument Valley. But I think it's amazing to get that kind of scenery out there, because when visitors come in, you ask them what caught your attention, what made you want to come in. Oh, I saw a John Wayne movie like 50 years ago, and I didn't think it's that long, but because we wanted to come see where that was filmed. And then some people that see the Lone Ranger said, yeah, well, we heard it was filmed somewhere in New Mexico, and you tell me it's over here at Shiprock. So can we go there? Like, yeah, you can go there. Just you can't be right up on the pinnacle. But they're just amazed to see, well, this is really real. It's not AI that was generated in this movie. These are actual structures that they can see, monuments. And it's just, I think it's amazing because just recently, a gentleman by the name of Shoni De La Rosa, he's a Navajo Nation filmmaker, did a movie called The Arrangement. If you ever get a chance to watch it, check it out. But it was about our culture and how back in the day, parents would set up the male with another group of parents and their daughter to get married. But in this movie that he did, it was showing different parts of the Navajo Nation. And I was like, man, we should be supporting these kind of guys even more, because they're showing what other sites are out there on the Navajo Nation. So I think it's great.
And it is free marketing.
Yes.
So you go to San Francisco or in a number of places where the Forrest Gump, Bubba Gump Shrimp restaurant is at, and they always have a little bench outside, and you can put your feet in those pretend
Shoes.
red tennis shoes and take your touristy picture. I mean, there are different things that can be creative if a person's so creative, you know?
You could actually run that part too. They actually have a signage out there at Monument Valley. You can run that part where Forrest Gump would run.
There you go.
It's actually a pretty hard run.
Yeah.
I bet.
I'm a runner, but it's just like you get winded on that trail.
Well, there you go. A national, or, you can start small and then a run, a 10K run or a fun run.
We have a whole movement. Our tribes here, like Hopi, Navajo, they're running tribes too. There's a lot of world-class runners, and we have there's a whole movement on Navajo for ultra running. So we're starting to we even have one at Lake Powell
Yep.
on the Navajo side, and then we have one at Monument Valley. There's also these mountain bike movement, and so they have a run there every multiple times a year where they have all these ultra runs and races, and even at Little Colorado, there's a marathon, half marathon. Shiprock has a marathon, half marathon. Narbona Pass is the biggest thing in 4th of July. We have hundreds of world-class runners that come out. So there's a big movement of that, and it's like how do we then capture that and
Get Tom Hanks to come out and do pro bono and do a kick-off.
Do a Forrest Gump run.
Yeah.
There it is, the Forrest Gump fun run.
Yeah, and then we have I found out that there was the CEO of San Gemini Waters. He kept coming out to Navajo, and one day they asked me to have dinner with him over at Cameron Trading Post, and I said, "Why do you guys come out?" He goes, "We come out every year."
I love their stew.
Yeah, he goes, "We come out every year," and I said, "What? Why?" And this is, and he goes, "Look, there's other CEOs. And I guess in Italy they get like a month or a month and a half off every year, mandatory by law." Even a McDonald's worker.
Nice.
Wow.
So, which is what we need, guys.
Yeah.
But he says they grew up with how we have Superman. Their comic book was a magazine that featured a Navajo superhero.
Oh,
And
really?
he sent me a copy. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And but he says, we come out every year, and we all grow up with all this area, all the whole Navajo res and the Hopi res. It's like so we know where all the places are. We want to visit it, and says a lot of them come out, and he says the views that you have here, there's nothing like it in the world. He said that's so there's a lot of potential here.
There is.
Yeah.
It's so vast. It really is, the whole community.
Yeah.
What else do you guys want to add?
Oh man,
There's so much.
There's so much.
Currently, you can go to Lake Powell. You can rent a boat. Describe the boat for those that have never seen it. They're in Italy. What are we talking about here? They're listening in.
There's actually several different boats that you can look at, from whether it's a small pontoon to a fishing boat, up to the bigger 6-bedroom houseboats.
And you stayed in
And
one, right?
I stayed in one a couple times now, but it's amazing because this is the feeling I get when I stay there. You're doing everything there today. You see all the people there. There's ripples on the water. But when you sleep there and you wake up the next morning, you go out the back and you're just looking at the water. It looks like a mirror. It's just real shiny and there's no ripples, nothing. They call it, I think they call it Mirror Lake at that time. But it's beautiful to see. Then you see the sun hitting on it. It's amazing. I couldn't pass that up. Every chance I get, I'm going to try to stay out there so I can wake up to that kind of thing.
Yeah, I want to add to that. I get enough relaxation at sheep camp. I love my high performance. I love the speedboats.
Okay.
And I do get to drive those speedboats, and I go at the highest speed.
Jet skier? Are you a jet skier?
No, I'm not jet skier, but
Okay.
my kids are jet skiers. But there's nothing like going full out on a speedboat early
Open
morning.
it up. Open it up.
And I know people from the world. Bobby and I both participated in the jackpot race this summer.
Lake Powell Challenge.
Yeah, Lake Powell
Yeah.
Challenge, where people bring like $2-3 million boats, and they're allowed to go full speed.
Wow.
Like 110.
Now, where do they
120 miles.
gas up at? There's
Well, they
several.
gas up here, but we want to create a gas station out.
Because it's 160 some miles, right?
It's 500 miles of
500
shoreline.
miles of
on
shoreline.
on the Navajo side alone, 500 miles, and so we want to see that gas station reopen, but you can actually go all the way to Utah and to
Rainbow
the
Bridge.
Rainbow Bridge,
Yeah.
and there's actually a hiking trail you can take to Rainbow Bridge,
Yes.
which is
Nice.
just beautiful. But you can get there by the faster boats, He
Yeah.
likes the houseboats. I like the speedboats.
That's funny. You're a biker. What do they call it when the bikers?
Throttle.
road.
You throttle hard.
Yeah,
Throttle.
Yeah. But no, we both had the opportunity to go with a rich millionaire guy on his boat this past summer, and I think he opened it up to about 90, 95 miles an hour. And
Wow.
we were just loving it.
That's pretty
You couldn't
fast.
even feel
Yeah,
the
it's
waves.
really fast.
And there were people flying by us, so that
Oh,
goes
wow.
to show how fast people were going. But in addition to that, there's the smaller sea-doos that they have people rent. They can take those out, and like kayaking. There's just so many different things that you can do at Lake Powell. But
They could jet
hiking-
ski there too, right?
Yeah.
Now, does the tribe have jet ski rentals?
They have them at the marina, yes.
Okay.
They do have
and
those
they can eat
available.
at the restaurant.
Oh,
Describe
that's-
the restaurant.
The restaurant is amazing. It's
The structure of it, too.
largest floating restaurant on a lake in the United States. There's nothing else like it in here. Overseas, I believe that they have something like that, but it's the largest one here. You're on it. You can't feel that it's floating, but it's an amazing adventure to go there. The food that they have there is just, it's an amazing thing to experience as well. They have a new chef that creates some really, really good food. It's just overall in general, it's just something that you have to come and experience.
And then you can go to Lower Antelope Canyon. And I've heard when the sun hits the canyon a certain time of day, it's so majestic and beautiful. And you can see all the layers of the different geological formation of the rocks and everything and the swirls. And it's so beautiful.
Yes.
It is. There's an image that was taken by a photographer out of, I want to say Italy, but it's before Antelope Canyon became really famous, and it shows the wavy rocks, the reds, the purples, the oranges, and the sun was on just perfectly, and some dust from the top had fallen in, and it created this image that looked like there was a dancing dust in there.
Oh, wow.
Took it back to where he was from, and he sold it for like $1 million. People said, "Where is that? Where can we go?" So that's kind of how Antelope Point got discovered from the traveling public, anyway. But beautiful story, beautiful image, and that's the kind of stuff people want to come to see.
Yeah, I want to add that I think we have we're supporting the business, right? We're supporting people, but a lot of the innovations happening by the people. You know, we have you met one of our entrepreneurs at Horseshoe Bend.
Oh, yes.
And it's Navajo group that is built. They already has a really established tour company, but now they want to add in a resort, a cultural center, a downtown district. You know, it becomes like an $800 million development. So there's a lot of opportunities for partnership with the Navajo. We really encourage, because we need participants in that capital stack. Here where we're at, we're doing a massive development next door called Glittering Mountain. They'll have we want to build a destination resort.
Nice.
We want to add in all kinds of like horseback things like that, because we're also a rodeo tribe. Some of the best cowboys in the world.
Yes.
Top ranked are Navajo as coming from a small tribe, you know. And I know there's other
Were
tribes
you a
too.
bull rider?
No.
Okay.
But I helped train a bull rider.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's so that those are the things that we really. But again, we need partners, and luckily, you know how a lot of the tribes, they have developers that are helping them, like Salt River, Gila River, and we're doing the same thing now. You know, you are going to start seeing a lot of fast movement. We just bought Googling's resort, and we want to make that a world class, like we call it a canyon country. And so Navajo Nation bought that for $59 million this past year. And we want to expand the airport. We're looking at expanding that hotel. We have another resort here called The View on Monument Valley, which we want to work with the entrepreneur to expand that. We want to build new product in Kayenta. We're building a Shiprock Hotel, Crown Point Hotel. We want to do things in Chaco Canyon. We want to expand everything, build new product in Window Rock. So you're starting to see that movement, you know.
Yes.
And with the Airbnbs, with the Bobby's working on different kinds of even trail products. We want to restore lakes and picnic areas and campgrounds. So we need entrepreneurs. So a lot of this can't be done. It's not all like government. We have ideas, but we really need. It's better if we support the actual entrepreneur and partner with them. You know. So that's what I encourage. But entrepreneurs need partners and outside investors. So there's a real opportunity here. There's a real opportunity to partner with the Navajo Nation in a lot of different ways. We can foster those relationships where, you know, I did a lot of work on structuring impact investment into things like Airbnbs, you know, with farmers, with food makers. We're happy to structure a lot of that kind of matchmaking, you know. So
You were going to add something?
Oh, this is from earlier when you were talking about some of the sites at Lake Powell and at Antelope Canyon, but I'm like thinking, gosh, I haven't really explored northern Arizona, and so now I'm like, a road trip is in order. But when would be a great time to visit some of these areas?
Is some of it seasonal?
A lot of it's seasonal, but we were talking with the Antelope Point Marina marketing staff earlier. And they're saying it's always better to come in before the big crowds or after the big crowds. And when we had our tourism conference in November, October, at Lake Powell, it was perfect because the crowds were at a minimal, but we could do so much more. And that allowed us to open up a lot of these tours to the guests that came in for the conference. And then going in ahead of time before, usually I think it starts around June when a lot of the big families come in, a lot more tour operators, buses and groups. So those are some of the best times to visit. But yeah, it's just seasonal at times.
And earlier today, because I know Michaela's kind of given us the sign, you gave a couple of websites to check out, how to find you and also to learn more.
Yes, discovernavajo.com. That's our official Navajo Nation tourism development site. A lot to see and do on there. We have a lot of good information. All our contact numbers are on there, our emails. It's a really great place to go and visit to get ideas on loop tours or places to see, places to go. We're wanting to expand on that a lot more. We've discovered a lot more tour operators who are working in the industry that we want to help promote them more. And again, one of the biggest things that we've been doing recently is taking information from our tour operators out to a lot of these different tourism trade shows that we go to all across the country. And we wanted to expand that more internationally, but it's really just to kind of help our small business people get more recognition in what they do.
Nice. Tony?
NavajoEconomy.org.
There you
All
go.
the stuff I talked about, you can even connect to Bobby from there. It connects to Discover Navajo, but we also manage manufacturing, industrial sites. We're working a lot on energy too, and so there's a lot of stuff we're working on. But this is a tourism show, so yeah.
There is a
all the
lot.
lending, the financing, the available business sites, all that can be, and the incorporation process, the preference process is all online.
A rich culture indeed.
So real quick, I'm throwing a little pitch for those out there who have investment dollars. We're always looking for investors to come in and help out some of these projects.
Yes, there it is.
Throw that out there.
If you're listening, how do we get in touch with you? Email?
Email would be the best way to go about it. And that's Bobby, B-O-B-B-Y .Martin at Navajo-NSN.gov.
Tony, do you want to give your email or not really? They can get in touch with Bobby.
My last name's a little harder. People are probably going to misspell it. And it's better just go with Bobby. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any follow-up, Kyia? How about you, Michaela?
Come visit Navajo Nation. They have all kind of cool stuff and cool food trucks. They're very kind and welcoming, and they'll introduce you to other places that you didn't know about. But yeah, come check them out. They're awesome people.
Nice.
Yeah, that's also something that we're really trying to push now is our food, traditional food. So we're trying to create more opportunities for these food vendors to come together, whether it's a coffee festival or a food vendor himself, somebody who makes fry bread. And we're going to try to be doing some of these things across the Navajo Nation as well to draw more different crowds in as well. I mean, you see these foodie events in Phoenix or
Yes,
Las
we were at
Vegas.
the Scottsdale Museum there.
Yes.
And what was that again? It was the
culinary
culinary experience.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's actually numerous ones in Phoenix, and we actually are making a concerted effort to support. We have 60,000 Navajos that live in the valley there in Phoenix. There a lot of them are getting into food businesses. I know one of your last shows you guys had the Fry Bread Lounge. We want to support all those guys, and we do bring them out to Navajo land. We do really engage them on different these culinary events.
Yes.
We've done 2 years in a row at the Navajo fairs.
Correct.
And but we really love that, and there's a lot of innovation around food, and food is story, food is culture, food is life. So yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Yes.
There's some really innovative companies like that in the Phoenix area. One called Red House Pastries. They create blue corn croissants.
Those are destinations, and that's tourism.
Exactly.
Yes.
So even though they're off reservation, we're still promoting them because those are our Navajo people and they're Navajo businesses.
Yeah, I love that. I love it, everything, because when people think of Native Americans and food, their first thought is probably fry bread.
Yeah.
But definitely these people are taking it beyond that.
Oh, yes.
Well,
Definitely.
they put fried bread in there too. It's really,
Of course, but
really good stuff.
it's still really good.
A little plug for Cameron again. Cameron, Arizona, is it like its own town or just the area we call
it's a
it?
chapter. Cameron's got it's a chapter. It's in Western Navajo. It's as far away from Window as you can get, which is good and bad. But they have the Little Colorado. They have all these overlooks. They have a lot of vendors. There's actually several hundred vendors. You know,
Oh, I love their beef stew there.
Yeah, the food at the you're talking about the trading post. It's immense. It's great. They have stock sharing with the employees, and it's really a good place to.
What's your favorite plate there?
I like the Navajo taco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the mini taco actually.
mini
'cause,
one?
the
Okay.
mass of the regular taco.
Well, the fried bread was so good. It melted in my mouth. It was fresh. It was still warm. It was so good.
I don't know what they put in there. I think it's like McDonald's. They add a little something else. I don't know what it is, but
Secret sauce.
secret sauce. Yeah.
Yeah. Fine. Well, visit
Some
Navajo.
syrup or something. Visit Navajo. Well, thank you for participating in our Native Edge podcast.
Yes, this was
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you.
Signing off, this is Yvette Fielder.
Kyia Jackson.
Bobby Martin.
Tony Skrelunas.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.